Ooh. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Roshi.
Merry Christmas to you. To those of you watching on YouTube, this was recorded on Christmas Eve. A couple of you have never heard a Dharma talk before. I don't normally dress this way. I normally dress in my Zen garb. But I wanted to give a talk to you all today about being playful. And it seems like whenever I wear this outfit for whatever reason, people seem to really enjoy it. And it brings out a more playful side of me. Those of you who know me well know that I am often very playful and make jokes, but also have a very serious side. You have to have a serious side to be a serious Zen practitioner. So, by the way, what does Santa pay for parking?
Cookies and milk.
He doesn't pay anything. It's on the house.
Knee slapper.
You like that? So we... Right. The wrong way to tell that joke is to say, it's on the roof. And then you're like, no, wait, that's wrong. I did it wrong. But one of the things about being playful and one of the things about not taking ourselves too seriously ties into one of the 3 marks of existence. So let's remind ourselves of what the 3 marks of existence are. The first one is the same as the first noble truth. Does anyone remember what it is? And let's say, does anyone not named Ryan know what it is? Because I've got...
Hot minute. Is that with dukkha?
It is dukkha. That is correct.
Tana.
So for those who are new, what is dukkha? What does dukkha mean? Tana is the second noble truth. That's very good, but it's not one of the 3 marks. Okay, so dukkha means suffering or what?
Isn't it like just inconvenience or something?
Correct.
Or what's the other word? I don't know.
Yeah. Hassle, inconvenience. Like my left eye is like really dry, but I don't have any eye drops with me.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't say that I'm suffering from it, but it's annoying me. But that is dukkha. What's another example? Is anyone just slightly physically uncomfortable right now? What's troubling you?
My shoulder.
Okay, but it's not like, ah, right? So, I mean, that's dukkha. As you get older, your relationship with dukkha will likely change. As an aging person, I can tell you that I am less bothered by things that I used to really be bothered by. So in that sense, your dukkha reduces, but your physical ailments increase. For example, apparently I tore my shoulder about 30 years ago playing baseball. When my shoulder started hurting about a year ago, I saw the orthopedist and he was like, oh, did you play baseball in high school? And I was like, how did you know that? It's like, because this particular kind of tear typically occurs when you're young, and it's very common in baseball players, and then you don't notice it until you're in your late 40s trying to be in the gym and not completely deteriorate. Very annoying. So now I have this tear in my shoulder, and I'm very active, and I play guitar, and I play pickleball, and I like to lift, and I have to constantly be navigating this shoulder. But like right at the moment, it doesn't hurt, right? That's dukkha. Also, dukkha is severe trauma and whatever. Okay, so what's the second mark of existence?
Impermanence.
That is correct. Impermanence, which is the opposite of permanence, inferring that things are always what?
Changing.
That's correct. Things are always changing. Does anyone disagree with that statement?
No. Everything has been the same my entire life.
Really?
I thought the Ryan's were on mute.
You came into the world looking like that with your long hair and your beard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like one day just poof, I'm here.
Well, according to legend, the Buddha was born fully formed out of his mother's side and took, I think it's 7 steps in each direction, pointed to the earth and pointed to the heavens and said, above the earth and below the heavens, I alone am the world honored one. So maybe people can be born fully formed. I don't know. I think that story is apocryphal.
Buddha said that?
The Buddha, yes. Supposedly he was born fully grown and said that. Anyway, Okay, so we are dealing with discomfort and we're dealing with impermanence. Everyone with me so far? Does anyone not experience discomfort or impermanence? Kind of like part of life, right? So I like to look at the Dharma as like a GPS. Like the road has been mapped. We know how to get where we want to go, but we have to follow the directions. Or we can try to do it without the GPS and just not have directions. And by the way, I'm not proselytizing. You might have your own spiritual path, but the idea is if you have some kind of path, it helps you get where you want to go, because guess what? There are literally billions of humans alive right now, and there have been billions of humans before you. So if you're just trying to figure it out yourself, maybe that's not the easiest way to do it. Maybe you want to look at the wisdom traditions of the world and those that have come before you, right? So these observations were made by the Buddha 2,500 years ago with no judgment. Just life seems to be permeated with dukkha and with impermanence. And if you know that, you might have an easier time. Because then when you have something happen that you don't like, instead of being like, why does everything always happen to me? You go, oh, hello, dukkha, my old friend. You've come to bother me again. Right? When impermanence happens, my late teacher, this picture's up there on the shrine, by the way. He looked rather like Santa Claus, so this is very appropriate to talk about right now. He used to say impermanence is the reason we suffer. So if you think about it, you have things really dialed exactly the way you want them, and then they go and change on you. It's very frustrating. However, impermanence is also an antidote to our suffering, because when things are not going well, you know it's going to change. So you don't need to really get all that wound up about it. Did you have a question?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, it is the cause and the antidote. So if we can just kind of hang out in knowing things are impermanent, what that means is that when things are going well, we enjoy it more because we know it's going to change. It's not a morbid philosophy. It's not, oh, well, this isn't going to last, so I might as well just not enjoy it. I was actually speaking with a friend this morning who has cancer, and he has prostate cancer, which is good because prostate cancer tends to grow very slowly. I actually have another friend who has prostate cancer who's getting no treatment at all. They just check it once a year. You don't have to do anything about it. As a matter of fact, my father, who's 81, no longer gets prostate checks because they figure if you've lived that long and you get prostate cancer, something else is going to get you before the prostate cancer. So they just don't bother you about it. But my other friend has a rather unusual form of prostate cancer that's growing a bit more aggressively, and also they didn't catch it until it had spread beyond his prostate. So that's not good. But it's not pancreatic cancer. I mean, he's not for sure a goner, but it's very concerning. He just got this news, and he's going to leave Sedona and move to Cincinnati where he has family and get aggressive treatment. And I think he will probably be okay, but it's going to be an uncomfortable time. So what he was saying today was, I have no choice but to just enjoy the holidays with my family because there's no treatment happening right now. There's nothing to do. And then I said to him, not only that, but a year from now, if you're cancer-free, you're going to be really bummed if you didn't enjoy this time. Because why not enjoy the time if you're going to be okay? And I said, and not to be morbid, but if you're not okay, then you're going to be really bummed that you didn't enjoy this time. And he was like, whoa. He was like, that is just what I needed to hear. So helpful. And he's been very helpful for me, so I was happy to do that service for him. But everything's impermanent, so we should really enjoy what we've got. And when you have a terminal illness, it becomes very clear. But even just all of us day to day that are healthy as far as we know, knowing things are not going to last, we should try to enjoy them. Okay, so then what's the third noble truth? Other than Ryan's.
Thank you. I said you guys were on mute.
What do you think, Matt?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Oh, interesting.
Oh, no self.
Ah, very good. Very good. Which, just to briefly touch on no self, is obviously a bit of a paradox because, of course, there are two people sitting in the Zendo that are new to the Red Mountain community, right? And they weren't here before, and now they're here. And they're encountering all of these other selves, including someone who has the audacity to give a Dharma talk in a Buddy the Elf suit, right? Like, what have I gotten myself into? We're all encountering one another. I don't want to pay your tax bill. If I'm hungry and you eat, I'm still hungry, right? So obviously there's a self. It's just that it's not what we think. Because your self is constantly changing due to the second mark of existence, which is all together now? Right. So how can you have a fixed, unchanging self if you're always changing? Also, your self is made up of a lot of non-self elements, including DNA from two parents, including the food that you've eaten the last few days, your clothes. Also, the food, by the way, that you eat is also made up of non-self elements. You can say, well, I ate a hamburger that was cow. Okay, but the cow is comprised of the DNA from its parents as well as the grass that it's eaten, which is composed of water and sunshine, right? So like there is no end to this rabbit hole of who am I, because you are composed of all of these non-self elements. So God bless you. Yes, you have a self, but it's not permanent and it's not independent. I find this notion very freeing because I tend to think a lot about myself, as most of us do. If you turn a certain corner in your life, maybe you start thinking more about your loved ones or something. But most of us spend most of our time thinking about ourselves. Total digression. I was talking to someone the other day who has really bad social anxiety, and he said, I just never know what to say. So I end up saying nothing or talking about myself, both of which are not great socially. I said, oh, that's easy. Just ask whoever you're with questions. Because everybody's favorite topic is me. If you don't believe me, you can very quickly derail this Dharma talk by asking what famous bands I've opened for. What famous band did I record an EP with last year? What's my favorite baseball team? What do I think that baseball team should do this year to make themselves better? What was it like growing up in Boston? Tell me about your Zen journey, Josh. I mean, you know, I'll tell you all kinds of stuff if you ask those questions because I like to talk about me. And even those of you that think you don't like to talk about you, if you are asked the right questions in the right way, in the right context by the right people, of course you like to talk about you. That's all you have to do if you're socially anxious, just ask someone about themselves. Okay, so now this person who has terrible social anxiety has less social anxiety because they have this new tool, which, by the way, they've been employing to great benefit. So do they still have social anxiety? Yes. Is it as bad as it was? No. Are they still themselves? Yes. Is it the same self? No. You guys following me? Okay. Now, if I walk in here dressed like this on Easter, it's going to be weird, right? It's already a little weird. But it would be like, but there's some context, like Christmas Eve, someone's dressed like Buddy the Elf. It's like, okay. That's just another example of the self being fluid. If you go to Antarctica, you don't want to bring your, Bahama shorts and your tank top. You want to wear warm clothes because your self is going to be under different conditions. We're always under different conditions. I wouldn't want to walk into a job interview on Christmas Eve dressed like this. I 1000% would not get the job. First impression of this is not good. Within the context of having started Red Mountain and being the resident Zen teacher here, it is kind of, camp, I think. And hopefully communicates a certain level of playfulness and accessibility, which is what I want. And it also makes people happy. It also reminds me to not take myself too seriously. You guys following all this? So the solution to what plagues you, being trapped in yourself, is not to be playful all the time, because there are environments where it's not good to be playful. I have a client who was recently at a wedding where, certain spirits were imbibed and he became too playful. It was actually not appropriate. And he's having some consequences from that, social consequences. I mean, nothing terrible happened, but it's like, said some things you shouldn't have, showed some videos you shouldn't have, awkward. So you don't always want to be playful. Sometimes you want to blend in. Sometimes you want to not stand out. And if you're a very serious person, try being playful sometimes. Try being frivolous. Try making your inner child happy. Something that makes me very happy is that my son and his childhood best friend, who used to play Legos constantly, to the point that I had a friend visit from out of state and saw the situation we had in our garage with card tables and their combined Lego situation. And what my friend said was, he's like, I feel like tweakers live here. I mean, that's how insane they were with the Legos. Well, now they're both 20 and they're both in college, and I come home the other day and they're sitting at our dining room table playing like they bought a Lego set and they were putting it together, just like old times. And my son said, yeah, this is making our inner children very happy. You got to be the son of a therapist to say something like that. But, and my son is a very serious person, generally speaking, very serious. Interned at Congress last summer, and he's like, serious guy, wants to be in public service, But just try being playful. And by the way, if you are overly playful, or you make lots of jokes, or sometimes you joke around more than you should, try not doing that sometimes. See what that's like. Try on the different selves. You have a whole closet full of selves that you could try. You could try being more outgoing. You could try being more quiet. Next week, when we're sitting in here throughout the week, I'm going to be real quiet. One of the things I love about sesshin, or I love about just closing the Zendo, is you can just be and not have to interact. And if you come in here next week while I'm sitting here, I'm not going to acknowledge you. I'm going to be sitting here. We'll have sign-ups over there if you want MI, but, you get to be quiet. There's one monastery that I've spent time in where the culture is that if you walk past someone in the hall during a silent retreat, you bow to them. Most monasteries, you do not. You just walk right past. You just stay quiet. I actually prefer that. Because when I go on retreat, I really want to just be very quiet. Do you think of me as a quiet person generally?
No.
It's kind of weird that I'm a Zen monk who likes to go sit and say nothing for a week, right?
Yeah.
Kind of weird. Do you experience me as a quiet person? What about when we played pickleball that time? I gotta get it out. That stuff will eat you up inside, right? Especially when I serve it really high into the sun. You like that?
Yeah.
The best. But the point is that you can be playful even with being playful, and you can be playful even with not being playful. Don't be arbitrary about it. Just play around with different versions of yourself. There's nothing set in stone. And you may find that a version of you that you try on, you really don't like. I remember when I was first learning these concepts, when I was in graduate school, I was both living at a Zen center and studying Buddhist psychology at the same time. So a lot of information was coming in. And one of the things that was suggested was, try to do the opposite of your habitual pattern, in a situation. So I was romantically involved with a woman who had been married before. And she went to visit some friends and had seen her ex-husband, and I knew that. I knew that she was seeing him, and it was whatever. I don't remember the exact terms. I don't think we were like exclusive. I don't remember, but anyway. She just very breezily informed me that she had slept with him while she had been back there. And I was like, what? Because regardless of how, it was like understood that that was not something that we were doing, But then I thought, oh, well, don't do your pattern. And I was like, oh, okay, well, like, help me understand what made you want to do that. Which in other circumstances would be a really good thing to do, seeking to understand, not overreacting. Anyway, to make a long story short, I stayed in that relationship for quite a while, and come to find out, this was a very self-centered person who did not regard me very well and treated me badly. In that case, it would have been better to be like, we're like not in this ill-defined thing, but we have definitely established we're not sleeping with other people, and you did that, I'm out. That would have been better. So like, use this judiciously, use it selectively. I could have saved myself a lot of trouble. I'm not saying just it's open season to just be whomever. Take care of yourself. Don't let yourself get hurt, but play around with it. You got a roommate or a friend or someone that you like, and feel comfortable. Maybe be silly with them. Maybe be more affectionate with them. I mean, there is a non-human being in the room right now who has no self-awareness at all. And I think she's happier. I'm not saying that we should be ignorant like a dog, but we can learn something from just this kind of open-hearted, friendly, goofy approach. So just don't get too serious about anything, including not being serious. Any questions?
Given that we have two new people here, you mentioned the Dharma.
Yeah.
So from a context of understanding, I'm wondering if you can expound a little bit upon the 3 jewels and maybe give a quick primer on all that.
I would be happy to do that, but I'm conscious of the time, both for you guys and for me.
You have 10 o'clock.
I do.
Okay.
So, but you have given me a topic for next time,
Sounds good.
which will be next Wednesday, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So next Wednesday, I will talk about the 3 treasures, or the 3 jewels. And I'll try, if I really am punching my weight, to weave in something about how the 3 jewels relate to the end of the year and the start of the new year. And as I mentioned, we'll be in here more next week than usual, so come and go as you wish, but spend time in here if you're able. Reflect upon your year, set intentions. It's not just a woo-woo thing. Like, studies have actually shown that people who set intentions and revisit them repeatedly tend to meet their goals more than people who don't. So letting go of the year, embracing the new year, coming with some intentionality, I think will be very useful. Any other questions or comments? All right, well, I better get going so I can help Santa. He's going to have a busy night. Enjoy your evening, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.